Hello, post-university esports fans. Warren JuggleGod Hammond here, bringing the action tonight for Overwatch 2. It is week 8 of the regular season here at the ECAC. Currently, post-university sitting on top of the standings at a 4-1 record, going up against King's University tonight, who is sitting at a 3-1. So they're still catching up kind of from their bye week. So this is the final game of the regular season, which means post-university has clinched a playoff spot. And this match in particular is going to be very important for seeding, though, for the playoffs. So post-university definitely wants to play well tonight. They're still going to give it their all. And let's talk a little bit about King University as well, because both of these teams have played the Delaware squad, and both of them took and lost to the Delaware squad. However, Post University took them to all 5 games. King took them to 4. So I think tonight we're going to have a very close matchup, kind of regardless, right? And we're going to be starting things out on Ilios. So let's go ahead and jump into the game, because it's going to be on Ruins as well. And this map, of course, known for its very, very long sightlines. Widow, definitely a very standard pick here. It'll be interesting to see if that is going to be what happens tonight. Post University in the red, so as soon as they load into the lobby, we'll start taking a look at kind of what they're thinking about rolling out on. So I'm anticipating, yeah, we're going to see some kind of a sniper, some kind of a Widow. Actually, Vero on the Sojourn is an excellent pick as well. So that's going to be kind of that long-range DPS that is going to be important. But Selage, on the other hand, for King could be problematic. So it might be up to Torero, even Jojo potentially, to put some pressure on that Widow. If Vero's having a little bit of trouble kind of dueling that, or kind of making that sniper duel happen and be successful. So we are underway. Last game of the regular season here for Post University. And MultiKel on the Sigma, I like this as well. Might be kind of difficult going into the Big Wade on the Orisa. They're going to have to kind of keep their distance. And already Vero has spotted out the Widow on the other squad. Big Wade playing very, very aggressively here, pushing straight into the team, trying to close that distance onto MultiKel, who's definitely going to be... it's going to be difficult, right? He needs to keep the distance, but he also needs to make sure that he's putting enough pressure on Big Wade. Huge hit right there with the Discord Orb on. Post University needs to get that last little bit of damage there, but instead it's going to be Adventurer who strikes first. MultiKel, though, able to take off Dread, and oh, unlucky. Gets pushed off the map. So King University takes that first fight win. But a lot of good stuff there from Post. Let's take a look at the ultimate charge as well. Adventurer and Jojo are going to be the first two, one for each squad. Sodium actually with the big pick onto the Widowmaker. Going to be able to take them out and actually take control of the point. Mr. Appleseed also has to use their their Suzu. So that's going to be a big opportunity for Post University. Now they've got Big Wade back into the fight. We're really going to need to watch out for this Ripped Iron. In fact, Jojo's going to be the one to watch on Post University. She really needs to make sure that she holds on to that Suzu. Here comes, yeah, that, here comes the Rip Tire. And fortunately, the Transcendence was there in time, but Mr. Appleton's able to take one down again. And Post University is sent back to spawn. So, points flipping back and forth. Both teams are really playing well here tonight. MultiKel has made the swap over now to Orisa. Vero backing off just a bit. Stellage has also gone to the Ashe, so that's going to provide a little bit closer support. They're not going to be able to play quite as far as the Widowmaker. And also, Bob could be very, very useful in kind of stalling out point. Big Wade already has to use their Fortify, and this is not going to be enough. They pushed too far forward. The support wasn't necessarily there for him. So now Post University has an opportunity to push in, and they're taking it very cautiously, but they're doing an excellent job of keeping the pressure on. So this point's going to be converted to theirs, but somebody has to cap it. They do drop back for that. So Post University has an opportunity to take kind of a forward position here as well. So if they can kind of close the gap here a little bit, that could be pretty good. Vero might want to try for the high ground here as well. Jojo has this Kitsune Rush, so watch for Jojo to use it as soon as the other team kind of pushes onto point. Suzu has to be used, so Jojo's going to, and the rest of the team, going to have to play very careful. In fact, Jojo gets tagged just a little bit and backs up. But I think the really great thing right now is MultiKel is doing a great job of just kind of holding and maintaining the space. And with the Discord Orb as well, they're not allowing anybody to get much progress at all. Death Blossom comes in. It's going to be a one-for-one trade with Adventurer. Torero actually on a bit of a tear. Finds another one. MultiKel cleans up the rest, and now Post University is in a great spot. That was a one ultimate fight win. Of course, if you're playing another kind of top contending team in this league, you know that their ult economy is going to be good too. So Stellage is just about to get their first Bob here, and that can be pretty problematic. So Ursodiumlvl really needs to make sure that he gets that Transcendence up and running as soon as they can. Here comes the Kitsune Rush. It's going to be dueling rushes, and now we've got Big Wade trying for a big play there, but in the end, they're going to bite off a little bit more than they can chew. Both tanks are down, though, now. Torero taking a little bit of damage, forced to back off, but now they're going to be able to push forward, take out that Ashe. Here comes a Coalescence, but it's nipped in the bud. It is cut short, and Post University takes sub-map 1. Great play, honestly, from every single player here on the field. This is going to be a pretty exciting match tonight, Chad. I am very much looking forward to everything that is going to transpire tonight. Because both these teams, right, this is their last chance in the regular season to make a case for themselves for the playoffs. And you can tell both teams came here to play tonight. So now as we head to Lighthouse, a little bit of a compositional swap. Vero, considering the Symmetra, and I think that's probably going to stick. Vero really enjoys that Symmetra, and that's going to provide a nice opportunity to kind of get to point quickly. Yeah, we're going to see the TP over this gap to kind of get set up on point first, and MultiKel doing a great job of holding that space. Has to use Fortify, though, almost immediately, but this spear could be great. You can see MultiKel kind of looking to hold it. Little bit of damage goes in onto onto Torero. They're looking a little rough right now, but the big story is, once again, Big Wade bite off a little bit more than they can chew, so there's no opportunity really for the opposing squad to really put pressure on a point. So Post University is going to be able to capture first this time around. Now, once again, Jojo is actually doing a great job of charging her ultimate, so this can be good. They're a little bit ahead of Mr. Appleseed, which you don't frequently see. Torero's already into that turret form. We can see a lot of damage going in, kind of preventing the other team from pushing in. Torero gets 2. So that is huge. King University not going to be able to push in on this, so they're trying to just kind of maintain this position. And oh my gosh, Torero almost goes off the map. What luck, though, that doesn't happen. Pick off that last kill right there and set up, ready to go again. And Sodiumlvl, I love watching Sodium on the Lucio because Sodium is a very aggressive Lucio, as you can already see, right? Pushing pretty far forward, and that's what you like to see in your Lucio as well. They need to be able to drop back to kind of provide those group heals to the team or that speed boost, but in the interim, Lucios can really harass kind of the backline, and I'm anticipating we're going to see a bit of that. Here comes the Kitsune rush. Huge sound barrier in response to the attack visor. Now everybody just kind of pushing on that soldier. Oh, and can Sodiumlvl stay up? Vero's unable to, so now a lot of pressure being pushed onto point here. MultiKel tries to get the other Orisa big weight off the map, but is not quite able to do it. So Sodiumlvl is providing a ton of support. Great play right there. Sodium tries to speed out, takes a little bit of damage. They're still alive, but only for a moment, and now 78% on the board. Crucially, MultiKel just needs to stay alive for kind of this 85% mark, and they're not quite going to get there. It's going to be close, and yeah, Torero has the right idea. Just jump off the map and reset and get in there with the rest of the team while we see how King University is going to kind of set up for this defense. Post University needs to win 2 fights here in order to secure this map. The second fight, if they get to that point, is going to be a little bit easier because it's probably going to be scuffed, unless King University really tries to just die all at the same time. Vero comes in with a big wall. That's going to be an aggressive push here. Suzu is already down as well, so... but Post University actually having a hard time getting just onto the point. Torero coming in with a big ultimate here. They're going to drop it all over the point. Doesn't find anybody, but instead, Vero doing a lot of damage with that beam. MultiKel gets Adventurer off the map. He tries to make something happen with that Death Blossom, but they're unable to, which is a big boon for Post University as well. Now they don't have to worry about that. That was one of the big opportunities that King was going to have for a retake here. And we can see Post University actually pushing a little far forward here. Vero, I like, has gone on top of this high ground, at least temporarily. Instead, drops back to the point because Adventurer is now onto the Sombra, and we can see that Vero is just spy checking here, right? Just making sure. But MultiKel has already found Adventurer. That's one player down. Overtime has ticked in. MultiKel tries to keep him off point, but there's a little bit of a touch, but the car wash was set up. Vero gets a kill, and that will be map number 1 going to Post. Yeah, big plays from MultiKel here. I think this might be the Terra Surge. Oh, yeah. What a fantastic... Okay, that was actually a spear. It was a shutdown plus a 2K on the ultimate. That's a big play, chat. That is a very big play. So, great stuff from Post University. Now we're going to see where King decides to go next. So, let's talk about some of the takeaways from that match. Post University just kind of outdid King a little bit on kind of these brawly compositions, and also kind of with these poke compositions at a distance. Or I guess I shouldn't say poke compositions at a distance, more so a couple of the poke heroes, right? Like the Widowmaker and then the Ashe. So that didn't seem to do it for King University. But they didn't kind of all in on that poke composition, so we certainly could see something like that coming in this next map. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like a Circuit Royale. Also, another option could be more of a dive-centric map. But instead, we're going to be going to Eichenwald, and this presents a couple of different opportunities, I think, for King, right? They can kind of stick to the brawl on point 1, which we know is pretty good, right? It went toe-to-toe with Post University. Post just outdid them a little bit there, right? So I think that's a pretty good call. In addition, second point, very, very dive heavy, or it can be at least. So that could be what King University is thinking right now. Maybe we can get a little bit of an edge there. So it's going to be up to Post University to really, if they are able to get that first point, to try and make sure they're controlling that high ground in the second phase of Eichenwald, right? They need to get into that castle. They need to control that bridge if it ends up, actually, even regardless of kind of what composition King comes out on. With a dive, it's going to be absolutely critical. With a poke, it's going to be absolutely critical. Brawl, not so much, because they can just kind of sit on the cart and then force King University to come to them. So it's actually going to be Post University on defense first. So we're we're going to get an opportunity to see kind of where King puts that line in the sand for, you know, just the victory condition, the win condition, right? And so it might not even, if Post University can hold on first point, then I anticipate we're going to see Vero come out again with that Symmetra and just look for kind of a TP, right? Because at that point, potentially all they're going to need is a tick. It all really comes down to how well Post University holds here. So it is going to be Post in the blue this time around. So a little bit of a swap on the color scheme. So here we're going to load in here in just a moment. Car Wash OP says Post to you esports. You are absolutely right. Car Wash is OP. For those of you who are unfamiliar, that's when Symmetra sets up just 3 turrets kind of on point. And just, yeah, puts a lot of pressure on everybody. So, or a lot of damage. So MultiKel's going with the Sigma once again. And again, Sigma traditionally kind of in Overwatch 1 was very much a poke tank, right? You really had to kind of keep your distance from the other tank, and that's true to an extent in Overwatch 2. I did talk about that a little bit on the first map, and that was certainly one of the big reasons I think MultiKel had to swap onto the Orisa eventually. But the new Sigma has a little bit more brawling potential. And again, here we go. We can see that, yeah, already we have the swap to a dive composition from King University. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how this goes. Already they're able to take out Selage. So that means that King University really just kind of have to hold tight here for a minute. And it looks like we might even have a swap coming in here. But D.Va's kind of pushed forward already, but Ursodiumlvl's it just kind of staggered kills here for Post University, so they have to be pretty happy about that, right? Because now they got to wait for Big Wade. Also, we have a role swap. Adventurer is on the tank now, and Big Wade has swapped over to DPS. Adventurer has decided to go onto the Sigma now, so they've kind of abandoned the dive composition. That'll certainly be more useful on second point. Big Wade already has to use the ice block as well. Torreira's on the Junkrat, which we haven't really seen a whole lot of, but can be very, very powerful. But MultiKel bites off a little bit more than they can chew. They go down. So Post University now needs to back up and just try and stay alive. Maybe get a couple of kills. Selage pushing pretty aggressively, but they actually get a kill for it. Big Wade does find their way into a trap, but Sigma should be back here relatively soon, and Ursodiumlvl gets one. Vero now putting up a turret to try and keep things under control here, but Adventurer gets another one. We have MultiKel back on the Orisa now, so that's certainly going to be beneficial. It remains to be seen if Post University decides to push in. I think they're just going to set up for a second point hold, though, here. So, minute and a half burned off the clock. I don't think either team is feeling particularly bad about that result, right? Post University has to be happy they got that much time off the clock, and King as well has to be happy that they've got such a healthy time bank moving into second point, right? They've made up a minute. You start with 4 minutes on these maps. So, again, we're kind of seeing this high ground control coming out here from Post University just a bit. And this is a nice split because Torreira is going to be pretty much unassailable unless somebody goes up there. MultiKel already has 1 kill, so Post University can kind of push a little more aggressive here. Adventurer is doing a good job of kind of like holding that distance that they need to, but Torreiro's just raining down damage from above for absolutely for free. Mr. Appleseed taking a bit of damage. The spear's a little bit wide, so it doesn't quite hit. Here comes the overclock now from Selage. They're going to find Vero. The Blizzard as well comes in. That's going to put a stop to Post University's defense here, at least for the moment. So Torreira now trying to escape here from Mr. Appleseed. Looks like they're having a little bit of trouble, but they've gotten out for the moment. Yeah, they're going to be able to stay kind of safe as long as they don't get railed here by Selage. In fact, Torreira almost takes them out there with well-paced concussive mine. Who takes a little bit of damage coming through, and Mr. Appleseed finds them. So now Post University is sitting at 4 here. They've got 5 ultimates. They need to start using them. Torreiro's MultiKel coming in here. Yeah, perfect with the Terra Surge. But what a wall from the May. That saves a lot of players here. And in fact, it's going to kind of almost turn the tide. It's now a 3v3 on point. Here comes the Sig. Now we've got the Riptire out from Torero. This needs to be big. They're going right into everybody. They find two. Absolutely massive. It's just going to be Tread on the Moira left on point. So Post University holds, and that was a huge, huge tire coming out from Torero. Absolutely massive. And that's exactly what you're looking for from your Junkrat. You're looking for that like fight swinging, fight win potential coming out from that ultimate. And that's exactly what Post University got there. Maywall comes out. Celad's now controlling that high ground. It is onto the I'm blanking on their name. Onto the Echo as well. They trade for Torero, so it's 1 BPS down for both squads. MultiKel gets caught on the opposite side of the wall, and that's going to be a little bit rough here. Torero trying to throw in some damage a little bit after that. Here comes a big ult from Ursodiumlvl, looking to see if they can capitalize on that Captive Sun. They're able to get big Wade, and now providing those heals so that MultiKel can continue to push forward. And health is a resource, MultiKel, and you pushed that to its limits right there. So well played from Post. 2 minutes, though, left to go. And again, this is kind of, we're seeing now the effect of Post University really holding for just a minute and a half there. Again, not a bad hold, but it does give King University an extra minute on the clock. Thank you for the raid, Post University Esports. Appreciate you all coming in to support the Overwatch squad. Okay, Rock is already out. MultiKel is able to use it to stay, or is able to mitigate it with the Fortify. Almost takes the Mei off the map. We have a duplicated Cassidy now from Celaj. MultiKel going in for a Terra Search here. They're able to catch a couple in there. They're going to get much damage from it. They get a little bit here onto Adventurer. They go down pretty low. Vero now trying their best to click ahead with Cassidy. But we've got a nice Kitsune rush coming in from the other side. Torero unfortunately loses their footing. Now we got a Coalescence here coming up from Jojo to see if they can keep their team alive. They're able to get a pick onto the opposing Moira, and now a lot of damage coming in from the damage orb as well. Gets knocked almost off the map, but some fancy footwork keeps her going. Jojo with huge Moira plays right there. Play to keep her team alive still. Here comes another big Riptire from Torero. It's able to find one, and that is great because there was a nice Blizzard that came out as well, but it's not going to find any footing. So now Post University doesn't even need to worry about that in their next fight. And we're getting to last fight territory here as well. King University doing everything they can to kind of hold this position, but now they've got Celaj on the Pharah. That's going to be up to Vero to deal with the Pharah now, so she's going to really have to kind of keep her eye on that, look for a possible Deadeye. But Ursodiumlvl, never mind, Sodium comes in with a pick onto, and now that means that Vero, yeah, can take this high ground. So Death Blossom incoming here, as long as they're not aware, and it doesn't look like anybody is. Here it comes, right on the tail. 2K, they're gonna get the rest of the squad. 10 seconds left to go. Huge plays from Post University. Pharah trying to touch here, but she's not gonna be able to make it in time. Great hold for Post.
Score 0-1. Switching sides.
Again, these are two very evenly matched teams, and you can kind of see it, I think, just from kind of the distance that the payload made it there. I love the scenery in the background of Eichenwald. It's very peaceful. And kind of the ominous Omnix just rusting in the background is fascinating as well. So, King University starting out with a RAM-based comp here. So, definitely looking to brawl things out. Big Wade has decided to go with the Junkrat as well. I think just seeing how useful and how much how much fights were swung by Torero and with Torero's Riptire. I think that's a pretty good swap. So it's interesting because Post University as well has opted for pretty much the same thing. MultiKel is on the Ramatra. They're not wasting any time starting to punch through. Big TP behind into the back line. It's going to be a trade 1-for-1, but MultiKel finds the second one, and now they've already started ticking up. Post University so good with these TP-based compositions. Vero doing a huge job setting them up for success, and nobody even able to touch. What a huge fast capture. 6 minutes on the clock for Post University here. And realistically, they need to win about 3 more fights. Mr. Appleseed actually staggers themselves here, so Post University is going to be pretty happy about that. Let's see if King decides to kind of take this high ground. It looks like they're starting to, but Big Wade is swapped over to a Reaper, so that's going to put a little bit more pressure onto MultiKel in particular. And we can see there's actually a lot of high ground control being exerted. But Big Wade not really getting any value up there, so Post University has to be happy about that from the moment. Cellage is going to be difficult to deal with, though, so it'll be interesting to see how they do with that. Big Wade is dropped now. Sodiumlvl doing their best to kind of like boop them out of their way just a little bit, but Cellage again on that high ground, able to find Vero. Sodium tries to take that TP up there to see if they can deal with Cellage. They've got him down low, should be able to finish him off pretty quickly. They're able to get back down to the point, help out the rest of the team. I think we're actually just 2 fights away now from Post University taking this map and going up 2-0, putting themselves at match point. Sound barrier up for Sodiumlvl as well. And you can see this kind of aggressive Lucio play that I was talking about, right? Almost gets the Orisa off the map, too. They've already got the sound barrier, first one to get it. Now, because of the way that King has kind of staggered themselves, Post University really only needs to win kind of half a fight. Now they're putting the sound barrier out to just kind of see if they can get it the rest of the way there. Jojo with the Kitsune rush as well, putting in those heals and that damage from the backline, and Post University takes everybody out, and that is going to be map number 2 in quick and exciting fashion. Yeah, it's this Deadeye. It is 100% this Deadeye. I mean, this was such a massive read and such a massive play. The awareness that Vero displayed here was absolutely tremendous. So kudos to her for getting that play of the game. And also, again, I just love the fact that she recognized the far is down. So there's nobody can test her on the high ground. She has the Deadeye. She's patient with it, takes her time, gets to a good position, and gives her team the win on that fight. And ultimately, that was the fight where Post University was able to kind of put their foot in the ground and be like, cool, this is it. This is as far as you get. So now, Post University, 1 map away from securing themselves, I believe, #1 seed in this bracket, in this tournament. So where do you go now if you are King University? And this is an interesting pick. It's already come in. They're going to be going to Shambali Monastery. So they really, I think, want to play for these high ground kind of maps. That's what I'm getting from a lot of these map picks, right? And in addition, a lot of their hero choices as well. Cellage wants to play that sniper, right? Every single time is try to find a way to get onto the Ashe, to get onto the Widowmaker, but Post University is doing a great job of just mitigating that. Sometimes it's because of Vero. Either she's on the Symmetra and is able to TP up there with Sodiumlvl as well, who's just providing so much support and harassment on that Lucio, or just sniping against them, but on the Sojourn, who has so much more utility than many of the other sniper heroes, right? So they're doubling down on this, and I think that's probably the way to go, right? You want to play to your strengths here, and so Shambali Monastery, I think, certainly provides that. And it's going to be, once again, Post University on the defense first. So again, they're going to have an opportunity to kind of see where that goalpost is when we load in here to Shambali Monastery. And another map that we really haven't seen a whole lot of, so I'm excited to get to cast it and to see how Post University kind of handles this here tonight as we load into the game.
Ready for battle.
Alright, so here are the choices we got going in. MultiKel's opted for the Ramatra, so we're going to be probably looking to just maintain kind of a low ground position here. I would imagine MultiKel's probably going to start on the high ground here with Torero to give a shield to him, at least initially. And the gun that Ramatra has pretty good damage at a distance. I don't believe there really is much of a drop off.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
So Adventurer, though, bringing out the Mauga. And if you've been watching kind of any of the Overwatch Championship series, especially any of like the Korean series, you've seen that Mauga has actually been a pretty consistent pick here. So it'll be interesting to see how Post University handles this. Adventurer trying to go toe-to-toe with Torreira, but getting a lot of, having a lot of problems here with it as Torreira's getting a lot of support. Nice shield there from MultiKel that allows MultiKel to find Big Wade, which is going to be fantastic. And Adventurer is going to get gunned down as well eventually. Torreira does eventually fall, but this fight has been confidently won by Post University, so there's going to be plenty of time for Torreira to kind of get back here. MultiKel eats a sleep dart, but Mr. Appleseed wakes them up, unfortunately. Actually, I think that was, that might have been from... No, that was Mr. Appleseed waking them up, unfortunately, for them. But now there's Sombra on the field. Big Wade is said maybe we go for kind of the sneaky approach here, see if that's going to provide some value, if that's going to be what we need here. And we can hear the hack come into the background. A lot of pressure kind of be putting on that backline, but Big Wade takes a lot of damage and is forced to kind of back out of the fight and just wait until they can regroup a little bit here. Torreira going in. Ursodiumlvl finds a big kill with a Captive Sun. MultiKel pops their ultimate as well. And while that might have been a bit of an overinvestment of ultimates, Post University still is going to have 3 for the next fight. And that certainly doesn't put them in a bad position at all. Big Wade is unfortunately going to stagger themselves there. But I'm definitely going to be watching for Vero's Blizzard here. I think that could be the difference maker. Vero's just been having a standout series tonight already, so she's firing on all cylinders. I'm expecting big things coming out from this, but it takes a little bit of damage. Now, they've got the Mei behind them. Torreira's taken down. Oh, Big Wade with a huge play right there. So now Post University is going to be forced to back up a little bit, see if they can survive here. JQ now on the field, so that's going to make things a little bit tougher for MultiKel on the Ramatra. And since MultiKel just used their ultimate, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a swap here onto something that could kind of go toe-to-toe with that Junker Queen a little bit better, which sometimes that's just another Junker Queen, but MultiKel's going to stick with it for now. And again, definitely watching this Blizzard from Vero, because if you can use it in conjunction with Torreira's ultimate, Torreira's actually going to go ahead and use it early. Vero tosses in the Blizzard as well. Staying on this high ground, though, big play from Torreira. They're able to catch one, and Adventurer gets just completely caught out. The res is going to come in, but it's not going to be worth anything, unfortunately, for King University. It's just going to be more ult charge going over to Post. So Big Wade, once again, finds themselves in a bad spot and gets staggered out. Minute left to go. Post University, realistically, has to win about a fight and a half. Maybe just one, because the card has made it pretty far from the spawn. Ooh, Adventurer caught out by the Mabel. Great play from Vero. Are they going to be able to finish her off? They are, as a matter of fact. Here comes a Dragon Strike onto the cart, but everybody's able to get out of the way. So big, quick fight win from everybody on Post University. Tread tries to get something going. Wow, great shots there from Torreira. It is not easy to hit an ulting Mercy. So Big Wade has an EMP here. There's a nano boost as well, and Adventurer is going to get their ultimate too. So this could be tough to deal with because there's no real support ult. Jojo might have to be big with this one, but here comes Ursodiumlvl with the Captive Sun, able to get 2 off of it. Here comes the barrage of ultimates that we were expecting, but you know what? Post University pressed Q first, and sometimes that's all it takes. Ursodiumlvl, huge heads up play to secure that fight win. And Post University doesn't have far to go. Now, got some great information here from Post U Esports in chat. So I was a little bit mistaken. I was just looking, I think, at the group that Post University is in. Post University is in a group. They're going to be at the top of their group, which means when they go into playoffs, they're going to be facing off against the other top teams from their groups. And so there are a couple 6-1 teams right now that are probably going to be seeded higher than Post University. But this will almost, if Post University comes away with the win here, it'll almost assuredly give them a top 5 finish, which again is going to put them just in a good position for seeding. They definitely want to make sure that they make this as as easy as they can right off the bat to ensure that they kind of see that second round. So depending on exactly how many teams are going to be in the bracket, that could either put them at the middle of the pack or towards the front of the pack, right? Which either means they're going to get a good matchup, a favorable matchup, or they're going to get something kind of even for themselves. So let's take a peek now at what King is considering running out with right now. It looks like Adventurer back onto the tank roll, and is going to go for the Ram. Ram is another one of those heroes that just kind of provides just a very fight-winning ultimate, right? So, ooh, and in fact, King is having a hard time getting into position in time. So that's going to be good for Post University. They should be able to get a good bit of cart progress here. MultiKel back on the Ramatra as well. And Vero on, once again, the Sim. So looking for teleporter shenanigans to come through for Post University here. Already Tredex has used their tank form. Torreira back on the junk too, and yeah, here comes that kind of aggression, and again, we see this just dynamic duo of Sodiumlvl and Vero with that TP play, and now again, watch Sodium just playing so aggressive on this Lucio, punishing and enabling, punishing the enemy team, enabling their own, and now Post University just has to win one fight, and what a huge play from Sodiumlvl. Post University is playing like a team that wants to take the entire ECAC championships here. I'm not even sure if they're going to get a touch here. Big Wait's trying to on the Lifeweaver, doesn't quite make it. Here comes Adventurer on the Winston. Last ditch effort to try and stay alive here, but they go down, and Post University takes the win in 3. Congratulations on making it 5-1 in the regular season. What a tremendous showing. I know, yeah, this was honestly, there was some really good plays here from Selage. Really kind of helped open things up for this initial push. But again, the story of the night, Post University improving their odds of making it deep into the playoffs this season. So we are going to throw it to a short break here. And I'm going to see if I can get an interview with one of the players. We've been trying to set one of these up for a little while. We're gonna see if we can make it happen here. So stick around, everybody, because hopefully we've got somebody that we can chat with. Don't go anywhere. We will be back soon. Hello and welcome back, everybody. Thank you for hanging in there while we get this interview set up. MultiKel, Jojo, are you there? Can you hear me?
We are here. Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
Absolutely, coming in
Perfect.
loud and clear. So, first off, just congratulations on a fantastic season. It has been so much fun to watch you all just have so much success. You started out strong, and you only got stronger as things went. So, yeah, huge congratulations to you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Now, let's talk a little bit because this is the first time we've actually gotten a chance to do an interview with you all. So let's talk a little bit about just kind of like the breadth of the entire season, right? And Jojo, I want to hear from you in particular first on this. What has it been like, being on this team and with so many experienced players, right? Like MultiKel, who I believe is you're high diamond at this point, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I just hit Masters last season, and
Yo,
now
okay,
I'm.
congrats. But back to Diamond, that's kind of the way it goes. I've been hovering between Diamond and Masters for a long time too. But Jojo, yeah, what has it been like to be surrounded by like all these very experienced players? Because it's been so wonderful watching you develop into this fantastic player over the course of the season.
Well, thank you. So last season, I was actually on the developmental team, which was
Mm-hmm.
also conveniently enough called Orange. We changed colors, so that was confusing at first, but it was a lot. Like I felt a lot of pressure on my shoulders originally. Like, why am I here? I don't think this is the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
But it was difficult at times, but I adapted well, and luckily enough, the rest of my team were all friendly with each other. So like it wasn't like a bad pressure, it was just a pressure to perform well, learn and adapt and push myself. And I had a lot of resources from Frosty, your coach, Kel and the
Right.
others, and guidance too.
It's just been, it's such a noticeable difference. Like I think one of the big things that I always look for when I'm watching, in particular, a Kiriko player, right, is their Suzu use, and that just got consistently better as the season went on, right, and that can be such an impactful ability. I remember you negated one ultimate, I think, on King's Row, just beautifully, and delivered your team a win. I forget what week that was. It's one of the more recent ones. But MultiKel, talk to me a little bit about what you really value about like this iteration of this team, right? Because you've been on the Overwatch squad for a while, and what has it been like to kind of see the Overwatch team develop into the kind of the juggernauts that you have turned into this season in your division?
So, like Jordan said, we're all already friends with each other. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, finding that synergy with each other, finding out like how to communicate with each other, we already got that off right off the bat. So, like
Right.
that, I feel like the most difficult part, because I've been in it for like 3 seasons now, and the
Right.
most difficult gap is finding that synergy between each other, finding that like friendship, and like, hey, can I trust you? Yeah, I can trust you. We got that right off the bat, which I think led to us making a lot of really good plays, listening to each other, communicating with each other, and just being able to be open a lot more than I feel like other teams that are like, oh, here's some 5 random college students.
Right.
Let's make it, you know?
Right. Yeah. That cohesion is absolutely crucial, and that brings me, I think, now to Frosty as a coach. So I think a lot of that synergy, right? It kind of it trickles down from the top, right? A lot of times. And so how has the coaching been with Frosty, who was a player for Post University for a long time and has now transitioned into this coaching position? Do you think kind of that experience on the Post University teams helped Frosty be a very effective coach for the squad?
100%. Like,
Definitely.
I can give my opinion if you want to give yours, but like my personal opinion is like he has a lot of time on the game and he has a lot of like already competitive experience. And I feel like the biggest one that he drives home the most is like, even though we have all this stuff going on, even though it might be rough, we just want to have fun at the end of the day. And we do end up having fun. I mean,
Right.
obviously, we win. Well, winning is funner than not. But like his biggest point is to like have fun most of the time, because if we're not having fun, I mean, how can you expect us to win? How can we
Right,
expect
right.
like perform well if I'm not even enjoying the game? And I feel like he's done a great job at doing that and driving that home the biggest. But along with like compositions, like our like signature Ramatras plus Sim composition,
Mm-hmm.
like I love the icon wall played we did earlier. That was a lot of fun. It's always so much fun to do because the enemy team's always just like, okay, we're just gonna do front to back with them. and then we
Right.
used to teleport, and we're like, oh god, you gotta turn around. Yeah.
Yeah, I love.
But,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue.
no, sorry, my Discord went off. But like it's just like a lot of fun, and I feel like Frosty has like a ton of fun as well, making these fun compositions that aren't boring to play. Like they're always so much. It's always like high kills, high like rush, which I feel like
Right.
is a thing. What about you?
Yeah, with Frosty, he is also very like informed in the game. Like for instance, like early on in the season and like even currently, like even as far as we are now, he always like takes us into like the training range to like just show us a few abilities and like teach us like, hey, did you guys know about this for certain abilities of characters? And
Mm.
they're very beneficial in helping us with matches and we utilize them properly. And
That's
he is also just really he's just really chill. Like he knows when to be strict and like guide us so like we know when to zone in, but
right.
he's not to the point like where you're intimidated or like you don't feel like you can connect. Like there's respect.
That's wonderful to hear. I mean, building a very positive culture, I think, in any kind of esports environment is only going to lead to success. And it sounds like Frosty's done just a phenomenal job of that. So, you mentioned just a minute ago, MultiKel, the kind of the teleporter plays. So I want to talk a little bit about those because I feel like that is almost like signature post university at this point, right? So do you all spend a lot of time coming up with these plays? Like, what has been kind of the inspiration for it? Is it just Vero loves Symmetra and any chance she can get, she wants to just TP? How did that come about and how has that become such an identity, I think, for Post?
I feel like half the time it's like, oh, let's practice it in game and let's think about like we'll do a map review and it'll be like, hey, this would be a great place to like close the gap. Because in a map like Eichenwald, there's the most difficult part about hybrid maps, at least for me, is just getting onto point. And if you
Right.
just get rid of that step, it makes life so much easier. So
Mhm.
Vero has a lot of fun with like these teleporters and like figuring out where to go. Sometimes it's just a eureka moment in game where it's like, guys, I have a stupid idea, but let's do it, and it works. And I feel like that fun like moment of just like, oh my god, this is such a great idea, but I want to give it a shot is like the funnest thing. I feel like Vero has a lot of fun doing.
That's great. I think you bring up a good point, which I feel like I've heard a lot in Overwatch, and that's kind of the idea of like a bad play executed together is better than a good play executed solo, right?
Yeah.
So it's like even if it's a crazy idea and it shouldn't work, if you all just do it and the other team isn't ready for it, you're gonna find success. And again, I love that you keep bringing it back to the fun aspect because at the end of the day, that's why we're here. It's because these games are just fun. So I don't want to keep you all too much longer because I know you're in school and you got to make sure you're ready for classes and this, that, and the other. So I just want to know before we close out this interview, do you have any shout outs that you'd like to give tonight?
Personally, I'm shouting out all of our players. So Jordan, Vero, who is currently watching me right now, and Vincent and Justin, who are not in the room right now with us, but have done an amazing job keeping up, have done an amazing job adapting, listening, and especially like making plans with us. Players, biggest shout out to you guys. I love you all. But other than that, I just love the school. Shout out to Denny. He's been great with like supporting us, telling us like the transparency between the ECAC conference and such like that.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Jordan?
Well, he kind of stole like everyone I was gonna shout out. Thank our Overwatch esports community because even the other team, Purple, even though they're sadly no longer in season, they're very
Right.
supportive and cheering us on. So thank you for that. My teammates were always listening and contributing and being on practice and working well. Jenny and also our coach Frosty. Thank you because you've guided us very well and he's on vacation. So I hope you enjoy your vacation, Frosty. If you're watching this, we miss you. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure you've done Frosty proud, and he'll be very happy to see this win tonight because, honestly, y'all were a well-oiled machine tonight. It looked like just every piece of the puzzle fell together for you in this one final regular season game. Everybody contributed. Everybody was a part of this win tonight. So, once again, congratulations to you and the rest of the Post-University Eagles Overwatch Orange squad. And that's going to do it for us here tonight. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting your Post-University Eagles. GG's, and we'll see you next time.
GG's.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.